Class B cars, and that will leave Dennis Robinson and Richard Buckley once more to have, I'm sure, a great dive between their two ZR 170s within Class B. So still might be great one. Now you have to work with it against Jack Ashton as they come up to the first lap and so hard at the end on one lap. Richard Buckley's got the better of Dennis Robinson coming through Murray's and down the Dennis straight, so taking the lead of Class B, Richard Buckley. In 5th is Dennis Robinson, and the Class A leader in 6th position, that is Cole Robinson. And Stuart Tranter, again another great start from the Rover Tomcat driver from the back of the grid, is already into 7th position, ahead of Nick Arden, Kate Twigger and Aaron Ross. Aaron Ross sits 2nd within Class A. So we're on to lap 2 of this MG Cup, supported by Peter Best Insurance, and Jack Ashton flings his car through Agostini. You can tell how much quicker they are driving these Metros than they did, or than what Mike Williams did in the earlier race. So spectacular. These two drivers are getting the most out of these cars. And down into the Ollie's corner goes Jack Ashton with his couple of second margin over Mike Williams. Now what's happening behind, because something's going on between the Robinsons and the ZRs. They're really falling behind Richard Buckley there at Hamilton, and that's allowed Stuart Tranter's Rover Tomcat to get past the pair of them and has put them into the clutches of Nick Arden and of Katie Twigger. So Dennis and Cole Robinson, they're getting themselves rather mixed up amongst one another going into Hamilton, and that's held them up, and then they've lost a place as well as a whole heap of time. So those cars heading down towards Brundle then. So there's Richard Buckley well ahead of them now in 4th position, and he's trying to chase after Peter Birchall's Class C car there in 4th position. Of course Richard Buckley did race within Class C last season. Check that when they come up to complete the second lap of this race. Jack Ashton has already done that in the earlier race. The best lap of it by Mike Williams, the seconds behind. In 4th is Richard Buckley, in 5th is Stuart Tranter, and actually Cole Robinson is 6th, still ahead of Dennis. So Cole Robinson ahead of Dennis Robinson in that battle of 6th and 7th, even though they're in different classes. And that means Dennis Robinson, 2nd in Class B, is under pressure from class rival Nick Arden. In 9th is Katie Twigger, in 10th. The 2nd of the Class A cars is Aaron Ross. He's actually only, 3 seconds behind class leader Cole Robinson, but there's a whole group of cars between them. In 11th is Steve Tyler, and then in 12th position is Matthew Simpson. They're both Class A cars battling for 3rd, or they would be battling for 3rd and 4th positions if there wasn't 7 seconds between them, but they are 11th and 12th on the timing screen. So the Class B cars and the Class A cars there on the infield. Richard Buckley leading Class B by a much larger margin this time, 7 seconds ahead of Dennis Robinson. And Dennis Robinson continues to have to watch his mirrors for Nick Arden, that's having a good run in this race. Nick Arden, who runs in Class B, wasn't on the podium within the class at Donington Park, but did come 3rd in the earlier race behind the top 2 within Class B, Dennis Robinson and Richard Buckley. The Metros are already at Coram, and that being Jack Ashton and Mike Williams. Will Trader Mike Williams is trying so hard to get into range to be able to pick up a toe off of Jack Ashton and they complete 3 laps, and the gap has come down further. Now 1.37 seconds. Another fast lap of the race, 2 minutes 16.479. So Ashton is great. All place is Richard Buxton. And then comes Cole Robinson, Mark O'Connor, and so this place is Cole Robinson, and the Carden. So the Carden starts to second with his Class B. Aaron Ross is up to 7th, and Dennis Robinson, who won Class B this morning, is now down to 8th overall. In 9th is Steve Tyler, and 10th is Kaylee Twigger. One car we have mixed out is in the pit lane, Mark.
It is, unfortunately, the awful day for Stuart Tranter continues. It was turbo pipe issues in the race earlier on, and yeah, a shrug of the arms from Stuart Tranter. He's instantly pulling the car back into the garage, and it's going to be 2 retirements out of 2, I'm afraid.
And the driver was so consistent at Donington, which meant he was leading the Class C standings after just 2 races, but he's absolutely going to plummet down the field now, and in this shortened season you just can't afford any bad results, because of course no drop scores in a 6-round season, and therefore any DNF is pretty bad, Mark.
It is, yeah, he's devastated, Stuart. Exactly the same problem as he had in qualifying, exactly the same problem as he had in race number 1. It's blown the turbo pipe off yet again, despite the fact that they worked on it and put new Jubilee clips on it and made sure everything was tightened, so there's clearly an underlying issue that's causing it.
A very frustrated day for Stuart Tranter here at Snetterton, and he drove so well in those first couple of laps to get inside the top 5 from the back of the grid, much like he did in the earlier race. So this is lap 4 of the MG Cup, lap 4 of the championship, and the gap is reducing yet more between the Metros. 1.37 seconds becomes 0.75, just 3/4 of a second separate Jack Ashton and Mike Williams. Another fastest lap of the race from Mike Williams, 2 minutes 16.157. But you're going to get back along with these 2 very quick MG or Rover Metro drivers. So Mike Williams second to Jack Ashton. 25 seconds behind the top 2. Big overall, great drive there from Cole Robinson, the Class A leader, but he has got to watch out because Class 5 will have a shot. Ross doing really well there. He's 7th, but he was challenging the Garden on the right. Meanwhile, heading down towards what is Ollie's corner, the 2 Rover Metros now pretty much together, Jack Ashton and Mike Williams. Where can Mike Williams try to get past Jack Ashton? We saw these 2 drivers battle in the Metro Cup in the past, and now they've both moved on from that, put bigger engines in their cars, then once more at the front of the field, but now in the MG Cup and absolutely dominated the race. But they've got to be cautious to look after their cars. They know they're fragile, but they're going to have to push as hard as they can to beat each other. And it's Jack Ashton that is still ahead as they come out of Nelson, but a couple of car lengths at the very most is what separates them as they come to the end of this 5th lap of the race of what should be a 9-lapper for the MG Cup. So they turn their way through Coram Curve, and it is Ashton ahead of Mike Williams as he bit crossed up very late on the brakes to Murray. Of the leading car, right back with Jack Ashton as they accelerate across the line. He's right in the toe, he pops out of the toe onto the left hand side of the circuit. They cross the line level, just 34 thousandths of a second apart, and into Ritchie. That extra slingshot means that Mike Williams takes the lead of the race. So onto lap 5, round the outside of Ritchie. How many times have we seen that today? Trying to make it through the outside line into turn 1, and Mike Williams is the race driver to do it, and he now heads Jack Aston in this fourth round of the MG Car Club MG Cup, supported by Peter Best Insurance. And now after this, but he's rapid, 5 or so seconds slower than those two Metro drivers up front. Richard Buckley is fourth, behind him are Class A cars, and they are Cole Robinson and Aaron Ross, separated by just 1.3 seconds now, as Aaron Ross has done another turn. So 4 seconds quicker on that Cole Robinson the gap, 1.3 seconds, that's the Class A. In 7th and 2nd within Class B, Nick Hardy. Robinson is really struggling in this race, a 2-time winner within Class B this season. In 9th place is Steve Tyler, and then completing the top 10 is Matt Simpson, who's racing in this Rover 216 GTI. In 11th and 12th, right behind Matt Simpson, is a 3-car battle. Wayne and Sterling Parker in the Rover BRM, and then in 12th position is Morgan Short in his Rover 216 GTI. So that's a good battle for 10, 11 and 12 positions that just turn their way into Palmer Curve, with Matt Simpson using many years of MG Cup experience to hold these two cars at bay. Those being Sterling Parker and Morgan Short in the Roll Sector Racing prepared Rover 216 GTI. And switched around though, missed that looking back at the other battles. Jack Aston, who lost the lead into Richie, has regained it by the end of the lap, so the lap chart won't show a change of lead, but there has been 2 changes of lead on lap 6, and Jack Aston is back in front and with a bigger gap, 1.1 seconds clear of Mike Williams. So Mike Williams has got to try all again to catch Jack Aston, and to try all again to get past Jack Aston for 3 further laps of the race to go. Virtual will eventually come through. Here he is, having a much more lonely race than this morning. And then fourth race of this Buckley. In this race, he is the Class A leader, Cole Robinson, who's getting away from Aaron Ross on this lap, and just does the fastest lap. 23.642, and that's extended his gap. It's doubled the gap to 2.6 seconds back from Aaron Ross. Now it's Ross, Tyler comes through to run in 9th position in his MG ZR 160, the 3rd of the Class A cars. And now Morgan Short's got halfway Sterling Parker. He's got a similar Rover 216 GTI and Matthew Simpson. Matthew Simpson, who runs in the Rover